Kelvin scale say on the back of that?
Looking for the percentage.
No, the one below that.
3,700.
37, perfect. Thank you.
You can
Oh, can I make sure it's on?
that, edit that, just roll it. I
Is
will
it on?
roll
Is
it
it on?
here,
Is the
but
light
they
on?
would want to roll it.
That's one, too.
Sebastian,
Hmm?
is it on because the green light's on?
Yep.
Okay.
I got another one for you here.
Alright.
You mind scooching over to the side, let him get
Sorry,
through
Mr.
behind you?
Line.
No, you can leave your camera where you're at if you just want to move your
Yeah.
body real quick so the mayor can get past you. There you go.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
That's all
good.
right.
And this one too. And
You want to do it through though?
I'm gonna do this so that it's not sticking upward though.
You got plenty of room to put it through.
Oh.
8.
Here we go. Are you all set?
Yep.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys got me?
Yep.
Okay. Ready? Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm pleased to announce that the City of Cape Coral has successfully met FEMA's original deadline of May 9th, today, to submit all the requested documentation. Following several days of code hearings, about 11%, or 27 of the 238 addresses FEMA provided us were found to be non-compliant. This is much lower than the original 23% reported by FEMA. This achievement wouldn't have been possible without the dedication of our city staff, who work tirelessly, sacrificing weekends and long hours to fulfill FEMA's documentation requirements outlined in their finding reports. I want to extend a special acknowledgement to our city manager who in his outstanding leadership provided to our staff. He played a pivotal role in guiding our team to meet this critical 30-day deadline. Today, we hand-delivered thousands of pages of documents and a comprehensive application guidebook to FEMA. Now we await their decision. We remain optimistic that FEMA will reconsider its decision to downgrade the city's CRS rating, as the 25% insurance policy premium discounts are vital to our community. Rest assured, the City of Cape Coral remains steadfast in its commitment to achieve the highest possible CRS rating, ensuring the continued resilience and well-being of our residents. Thank you.
Okay, so we can take questions from each of you. We'll go down the line, so we'll start down here on this side. Do you have any questions for the mayor starting now? No? Okay, go ahead.
So talk to me a little bit about how this process has been. Can you walk the people through what you've had to do to get to this point? Because I know there are other places at Stero, Fort Myers Beach, that are also trying to do maybe similar things as well.
Well, this was a very comprehensive investigation with each one of the addresses to see exactly if they were compliant or not compliant. In some cases, they were compliant. As I had mentioned, 11% of them were not. And there's a variety of levels of non-compliant. It could be that they just need to fill out the substantial damage report, or it could be something much more than that. But I think it's important to note that we have given the 11% a clear path on how to become compliant. So just because they're non-compliant today doesn't mean that they won't be compliant at a later date.
And has all this, the experience that we've gone through with Ian, set you guys up to be more prepared for anything that may come in the future? Can you talk about the steps and the way that things may be changing going forward to make sure that things are able to continue being handled as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, we do that after every event in the storm, a after actions evaluation. And we will do the same with this process. And of course, we've learned things along the way that I think would be better practices. Anytime that you have an event, you look back. If there's better ways of doing any particular task, we will make sure that we implement that.
And
Col-
what,
we're gonna move on, we'll do 2 questions each. Colton, go ahead.
So Mayor, 11% is what was found to be non-compliant. In your opinion, can FEMA do better when they go to these properties and they give you this 200 sum at first, and then when you investigate, 11%? Can they do better?
Well, like I had mentioned, we did a very comprehensive investigation, and we made sure that we didn't leave any stone unturned. I feel that our investigation was extremely more thorough than FEMA's. Theirs was more of a broad overlook, but when you really looked at the details, we found that some properties were compliant, and that's why you see the reduction from 23 to 11%.
Okay, so the 11%, what are their next steps? Are they gonna have to pay citations? Are they gonna have to fix out their homes, or like fix whatever issues that they found wrong with their homes?
Each one of the 238 cases brought before the magistrate are specific to themselves. And each particular property, if they are one of the 11%, we've given them a pathway of how to be compliant. Each property is different. So each property owner knows exactly what they need to do in order to become compliant, and the city will work with them to ensure that they are compliant.
Lastly, when is the city going to hear back from FEMA? Is it going to be just like, hey, we looked over your data and everything's approved, you're good to go? What's the process going forward look like?
I'm sure they'll take a look and thoroughly look at the information. I know that the book that we're providing to them well over 400 pages, so it's not a 2 or 3 page summary. So I'm sure they'll go through it, and they may have questions. One of the reasons why we wanted to get it done in a 30-day period, that still leaves us another 30 days. If they have some questions, or if they need more information on any particular address, we'll provide that to them. So as far as the decision, you're dealing with the federal government. It's their timeline. We'll just have to sit and wait. But I can tell you that we've done everything that we could and exhausted every effort to make sure that we know exactly what went on with all those 238 addresses.
Colton, I think you only asked 1 question, and then we can move down to you if you have any other.
Cool. So Mayor, Hope kind of talked about it. I want to dig back in. Is there a lesson? Is there something that was done this time that we're approaching hurricane season? Is there anything that the city has taken away from this that you can say, this is how we're going to do things better? Because you had said we had learned ways to do things better. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
can I piggyback one thing? The message that you have to the people, like if you were giving advice or trying to make sure that they knew something that you wish you could tell them, and I'm just piggybacking, it's still his question, we're just tagging me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a two-pronged answer there. First off, one of the things that comes to mind is we had asked for help with inspectors out in the field, boots on the ground. And unfortunately, we never received those. So when you have a storm of this magnitude, there are many addresses that need to be evaluated. So I think first and foremost, we have to make sure that we get the resources that we need either from the state FEM or through FEMA in order to do the evaluations. That's a lot of addresses now. They only identified 238 addresses, but we all know that there was a multitude of permits pulled throughout the city as a result of this storm. So I think that's the first and foremost thing that, for me, I think we have to make sure we got enough resources to make sure that we are being compliant with all of the FEMA regulations. As far as the community, I think it's important to note, a lot of people, if you're in a high flood hazard zone, just because you don't need a permit doesn't mean that there's not a FEMA, a substantial damage report that needs to be filled out. So I think some residents in the community said, I don't need I don't need a permit maybe for minor alterations that they're making on their property, but they still need to fill out that substantial damage report. So that's one of the things I think, a message we need to get out in the community. Just because you don't need a permit doesn't mean there's not paperwork that needs to be filled out.
Okay, and go ahead.
So the first FEMA report obviously was a bit skewed there. We found it was, 11%, not 23. Are we concerned at all when we hear back from FEMA this time after those 400 pages that there could be more problems, even though we have 30 days, but it's only 30 days?
Yeah, in our discussions with FEMA, it was determined that they're really going to focus on the 238 properties, and that's exactly what we did in our investigation. And so as long as that's the approach that they continue to move forward in, I think we've identified and addressed through our investigation those 238 properties. So we're just hoping that's where their focus is.
Thank you. And so you said, it's the federal government's timeline. We're not really so sure. When do you hope and or predict to hear back?
I wish I had that answer. And, I would hope that it would be sooner rather than later, but, unfortunately, we're kind of at their mercy. Once they have looked at all the paperwork, give them the opportunity to ask questions or ask for additional information, and we'll give it to them. We're hoping and we're cautiously optimistic that our 25% CRS rating will be back to where it was pre the hurricane.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Asking questions, bumping my tripod. What are you doing?
I did not mean to bump your
I was
tripod.
like, yo, I don't want to stand next to her anymore.
She's a bully.
Just a little bit.
Put me on the other end.
Just a little bit. Thanks for letting me tag team the question. Thank you so much.